Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Monday. Thank you so much for coming in to watch this video. And in this video, we're going to go over basically Bitcoin. We had a great day on it. Miners had a great day, double digits for the most part. Some were only in the single digits, but still had a great day. We'll take a look at what's going on behind the scenes there a little bit. What's pumping Bitcoin right now? There's some thoughts behind it. And then we'll also take a look at, as far as the miners are concerned, looking at their, unfortunately, Q3 numbers is what we have right now. But how much runway do they have after the halving event? I ran a bunch of numbers for it. We'll go through it. So which miners are going to have a good runway, which ones are not going to be in such a good position come the halving event. We'll take a look at all that. But as always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice, for entertainment only. Please do your own research. I'm investing coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously, especially hitting the like button. It definitely helps the YouTube algorithm, and it helps the video get out to more viewers. Okay, so let's take a look at Bitcoin here really quick, and we'll talk about what's actually pumping it here a little bit. So Bitcoin obviously closed today at 49,942. So it's just below the 50,000 mark, but it did go past it. We hit a high today of 50,363, which was nice to see. And we've had this nice rally here over the last 7 days. So it's definitely nice to see, right? But how long can this sustain basically going forward? And we just don't know. But one of the things that I saw today was from Anthony Pompliano, and he was on Squawk Box, I think. And he basically said that right now with the spot Bitcoin ETFs, they're pulling in approximately 12.5x more Bitcoin than are being generated per day, which we have right now 900. If you haven't seen the segment, definitely worthwhile checking out. He goes into saying that, Bitcoin is basically the most sought after asset right now in the investment community, because we've seen Grayscale, Fidelity, I believe, reached 1,000 AUM, or not 1,000, 1 billion AUM within 30 days. So that's like the fastest launch that we've seen of ever on a ETF. And he thinks that's just going to continue on here. Plus, we have this Bitcoin halving event coming up here in about 60 some odd days. That's going to shorten the supply, obviously, even more to 450 Bitcoin per day. That's going to provide even more catalyst for Bitcoin to possibly go up higher. So where are we going to go? We just don't know. So we'll have to see on that one. But if you don't follow Pump, definitely follow him. And he's obviously a contributor to Squawk and CNBC. Definitely check out this video. Definitely worth it, I think. But kind of shows you how he's seeing things. And I kind of tend to agree with him. So we'll see how things go. Okay. So that's that from Bitcoin here. We'll see how it continues going. Right now, I think our resistance at 50,000. We're currently at 50,129, 130, something like that. And our next possible resistance on Bitcoin, at least, might not be until we reach, what is that, 51,000 here. Then we got probably 53,500. Then we got 57,000, and then 60,000 roughly, right around those lines where we had it before when we were going up. How fast will we get there? It just all depends on the depends on the demand that we have for the spot Bitcoin ETFs, right? And people not willing to sell, I guess. The ones that are hodling Bitcoin right now, if they continue to hodl, it's definitely going to drive the price up. But if they're looking at Bitcoin at 50,000, 55,000, whatever it is, and they start selling, a lot of those people were in the red for a long time when prices were at that point. And if they decide to sell, that could be obviously some sell pressure there as well. We might kind of balance out a little bit, but we'll see. Okay, now as far as the miners are concerned, miners had a heck of a day today. You can see here that we had quite a few that were in double digits, so we'll go over those really quick here. Argo was up 14.4%. BitDeer was up 16%. Bitfarms was up 12%. Cypher up 16%. CleanSpark up 14%. DigiHost, for one reason or another, was down actually today. Then we got, who else was up double digits? Iris Energy was up 16.6%. I think they had the most gains here. Marathon was up 14%. Then we got Mawson being down 6%. And then everybody else here was kind of single digits here for the most part. So a fantastic day. If you held on during that drop where we had, basically we went 50% down on miners, and if you dollar cost averaged in, you're doing pretty good. You're doing really good actually right now. I'm currently on CleanSpark. I'm up 350% plus on it. Bitfarms, I'm up 140% on it roughly. So Bitfarms, I think, has more legs to run a little bit. And it was nice to see, obviously, Iris Energy also today pumping, like I've said before. Iris Energy looks like one of the most undervalued along with Coors, but Coors just got out of bankruptcy. That's the reason why it's maybe lagging a little bit more than some of the others. I think investors might be looking for a couple, maybe 1 or 2 quarters of data on them to see how they're doing after getting out of Chapter 11 bankruptcy on those. And then maybe then I'll start pumping a little bit more, but we'll see on those. Okay, so that's it for that. Let's just get into the numbers that I do have here on the spreadsheet that I prepared. And this looks at all the miners here as far as what their costs were in Q3. There's some exceptions to this, so I'm going to go over and read it so I don't forget anything. So results are based on Q3 financial results, except for CleanSpark, which is Q1, and then Iris Energy from June of 2023. Right, Iris Energy provides their results biannually, so every 6 months. So that's kind of what we're dealing with here. So once those get updated, we'll get a better picture, at least for Iris Energy, on how they're doing, along with the other miners here. Okay, ops. So as far as ops costs, those include cash and interest expenses as well. Okay, so I'm including those things, basically cash expenses. And then current assets, I'm including cash on hand at the end of Q3 or Q1 or for June for Iris Energy at that time. I'm also including HODL value in there. So whatever the HODL value is currently, that's being included in there as well. Okay. So here's how we're doing this. Things that we're looking at right now. Bitcoin price is about 50,000 right now. So that's kind of where we're at. Network hash rate is at, I'm guessing maybe around the halving event will be around 605 exahash right now. If we look at it, let's see if we can take a peek at that as well. So if we go back here, and I think I have it here. Let's see here. Fees network. Where's network? So we want to look at, actually, I don't have it pulled up here. I don't think, is this it? There it is. Okay. So here is the network hash rate. If we refresh this really quick, we can see that we have peaked here, and this is on the 7-day average. We peaked at 600 here, and I think we peaked again here recently. I thought I saw somebody posted we were at like 700 petahash or some 700 exahash, sorry. But if we look at the average here on the 30-day, we can see here that the network hash rate is at 543 exahash, and that means, and 540 right now. So with the next 2 months, could we get close to 600 exahash? I do think so. I think it's possible. We know that quite a few miners are going to be getting machines installed, and then they're the newer generation miners. Those are going to obviously contribute a lot more to the network hash rate. So I think that is possible. That's kind of what we're using here for that. Okay. So that's basically some assumptions that we're using here for it. Electricity, we're also using what they have provided us with as far as what I could find on some of those. The ones that I haven't been able to find, I'm using that 5 cents. So if they're lower than that, you can kind of decrease the numbers from there. Okay. Average watts is based on their current installed machines, and that's estimated based on the information I could find for them as well, and based on the information from the manufacturer on those machines. As you guys know, I track all the machines that they have. So that's kind of how we're figuring that out, along with the average hash rate right now is basically what's everything installed here as of January, okay? We've known that CleanSpark has installed some machines here in February. Those are not being added to it just to make everything fair across the board. And then we're using, obviously, the calculated average joules per terahash, average miner electricity cost, what that actually costs them based on that information. Then when we go down here, we can see the number of miners. So that's how many miners they have more or less installed to get to the exahash they reported at. And then daily revenue, what that's going to be for them, total revenue for 30 days. Now, obviously, some of these miners don't operate for 30 days continually. Some curtail. That's not being taken into account here. We're looking at basically if they operated for 30 days. Okay. Electrical cost is being calculated based on that information. 30 days net profit. We're just calculating what's the total revenue minus the electrical cost. And then are they in profit or are they not at that point? And then profit margin, what that is. And then, like I said here, the monthly operational average. We include basically payroll, general administrative, and professional fees, along with interest expenses if they have them. And then the estimated net monthly income or revenue, I guess you could say what the net income was based on those figures. And then current assets, we're looking at basically BTC HODL value plus cash on current reports. Okay. So that's all across the board there. And then you can see here how everything kind of stacks up. So if we look at it all, we'll just go down at the charts. I think the charts will kind of show a better picture of everything here. So joules per terahash right now, Marathon has the best joules per terahash as it is at 23.86 roughly. The next closest one to that would probably be CleanSpark at 26.62. When I ran the numbers and I had the February numbers in there already, they were much lower. They were at, I think, like 24 or something like that. So that definitely will help them out. So any miners that are buying and installing newer machines, their joules per terahash will be dropping here as we go into, obviously, February and possibly into March. So that will help them out as well. So we'll do this kind of monthly update on these miners as far as how they're performing. And then you got a bunch of them that are kind of in the 26 to 27 range as well. You got Turf at 26.79. You got Cypher at 27, Core at 27, DMG at 27. And you got a couple of 28s here as well. And then after that, you start going into 29s. We have quite a few in 29s. We got Riot, Sphere, Stronghold, Hive. Who else is here at 29? I think that's it. And then we go up above that and we're in the 30s 30s range. And the worst one here is HUT 8. And HUT 8 is based on the USBTC numbers that they have reported for us. And also their financials here don't include USBTC because I don't have a quarter with USBTC being added in there as well. So those numbers are for HUT 8 by themselves also, okay? Just to point that out. Going down here, months of runway. So looking at all the costs, assets they have, everything like that, cash on hand, how long will they be able to last if the halving was to happen like tomorrow, right? If that was to happen based on Bitcoin being at 50,000, network hash rate being at 605 exahash, we're looking at possibly Argo running based on Q3 results, being able to withstand maybe about 2 months without having to either dilute or get more loans or something like that in order to be able to stay afloat at that point. Okay, BitDeer 37 months, BitDigital 29 months, Bitfarms 44 months, Cypher 8 months, CleanSpark 38 months, Core 9 months, DigiHost 4 months, DMG 5 months, Hive 75 months, HUT 8 118. But like I said, this is without USBTC basically numbers in there. So if those expenses are higher, that's going to definitely drag them down here potentially. Then you got Iris Energy at 8 months, Marathon at 106 months, Mawson at 1 month, Ride 150 months right now, and then Sphere at 1 month, Stronghold at 4 months, and Terrorwolf at 2 months. So anybody that's kind of like within those 3 months, I would say 3 to 4 months after the halving, if Bitcoin just stays where it's at right now, those guys are going to be definitely in a world of hurt because typically in Bitcoin, at least the last cycle, Bitcoin didn't start going up until after about 2 to 3 months afterwards. And at that point, I think that should help them out. Also, we should have a reduction in the network hash rate come halving event because a lot of these miners, not only some of these here, but some of the miners that we don't track are going to be not profitable at that point. So we should see a reduction in the network hash rate at that point as well. So we'll take a look at those numbers here in a second. We'll drop that down here a little bit. Okay. Then when we look at net profit after electrical expenses here, that doesn't include any operational costs. We can see here that the best one here would be possibly Core actually, with 2.4 million in net profit after electrical costs. Doesn't include anything else. But then you got also Riot here at 2 million. Then you got CleanSpark at 1.9, Terrorwolf 1.5, 1.6 roughly, and then you can see all the rest here. The ones that would be in trouble are like Argo would be negative 1 million, BitDeer negative 700,000, BitDigital negative 280,000, but they're also getting the AI stuff that's not being counted into this as well. So this is just for self-mining things right now. HUT 8 would be negative 700,000 or 630,000, sorry. And then you got Marathon being down just a little bit here, Mawson being down 36,000, and then Sphere 3D being down 317,000 at that time. Okay, and then you get the monthly profit margin here as well. You can see how that stacks up here, okay? So let's take a look at the numbers. If we get a reduction in the network hash rate, let's say that it comes down to, let's say we get it down to 500. Let's get like a 20% reduction roughly. So let's bring it down to 505 exahash. At that point, you can see that the runway changes quite a bit here for some of these guys here. We got Argo with 3 months now, Cypher with 10 months, DMG with 5 months, Mawson still with 1 month basically at that point, Sphere with 1 month, Stronghold 7, Terrorwolf at 3 months on that. Okay, that's kind of how that's going to play out potentially. Looking forward at that. And you can see here that we obviously have still a couple of these guys here at 50,000 would not be profitable, which would be Argo and Sphere. And depending on their costs, whatever their costs are going to be, that's going to obviously be a big contributing factor to whether or not they are profitable at that point or not. And I've been saying this for pretty much a year, that if miners are not growing into the halving event and reducing their expenses as best as they can, being as lean as possible, they may have a hard time going through the halving event. That's kind of what we're seeing here with some of these miners happening right now. Okay, but if Bitcoin goes obviously to, let's just say, let's bring Bitcoin up to 60,000 here at this point. We'll see how that kind of shapes up. And at that point, you can see here pretty much everybody is in the green. And we'll have a little bit more months here, but Argo still looks like their expenses are kind of high here. And then why am I getting these guys in negative 8 months? I guess they're going to be doing a lot better here. What's going on here? Why is that negative 10, negative 8? You have 42, their expenses. Let me see here. Month operation average, 7 million, estimated 4. And we're just taking that, dividing it by the number. Let's see, current assets. Oh, yep. 442. So that shouldn't be a negative. That should be positive 10 months. Why am I getting a negative here? Oh, I think because we're negative on here, I'm trying to get it to a positive number at that point. That's why, because I have it negative times -1. So it probably should be, we can fix this right now. That 3 months, let's drag that across the board here. We still have a negative numbers here. Why is that? Oh, because these numbers are positive. Estimated monthly net income are 4. Okay. So, but basically you get it. It's going to be 10 months, 8 months. For those that are negative here, for some reason, they're coming up as positive here. So they're going to be fine there. Yeah, that's it. So let me know what you guys think of this. I think this is a good kind of to look at, especially as we get closer to having an event. We'll see where things stack up at that point, right? At 605 exahash, things look pretty dire for some of these guys. But if it jumps down, Bitcoin goes up in price. That definitely helps out a lot of these guys here that might be in trouble come the halving event. Okay. Anything else you guys want me to add in here, let me know. We'll add it in here, but this is kind of what we're looking at. And then once we get the information for the Q4 numbers for a lot of these guys, which end in December, we'll obviously get this updated as well. And then we'll see how things stack up at that point. If they install any machines in February, we'll update that information as well. And then we'll see how things stack up at that point. Okay. So that is it. If you guys enjoyed the spreadsheets are always available to my Patreon members. Link is down in the description for these. You're more than welcome to join there. You might still have an opportunity to get in like that $4 range or the $5 tiers. Other than that, I think it's the $8 tier right now for that. And we also have a private Discord channel server for that for everybody there. That's always fun because we have great conversations there as well. A lot of ideas floating around in there. So that is it for that. And other than that, I'll just leave it at this. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Tomorrow, I believe we have the CPI data coming out. So we'll see. A lot of the analysts are saying that the CPI data is going to be below 3%. I think that would be great. That way it brings down inflation and makes Papa Powell think to possibly reduce interest rates quicker, maybe, depending on where that CPI data comes in at. Okay, but that is, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll see if anything else happens from the miners, and then we'll get into any other metrics we can take a look at here for the month of January on the miners and things like that. Anything else that's, I think is going to be worth noting. Okay. But I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for coming in to watch this. Really appreciate you guys for doing so. And if you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.